is the Ryan Day Show, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by the American Dairy Association Mideast on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with head coach Ryan Day and former OSU All-American Jim Lachey, here's the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
And welcome to our show this week as Ohio State, following week one, moves into week two and gets ready to host Grambling State on Saturday afternoon. This follows the victory over Texas. Coach Day, thanks as always for your time. I know that during the course of your camp in the summer, you try and prepare for all kind of things to cover and practice and things like that. What's it now like that you've got a game and game film to kind of administer over everybody?
Well, we're into a game week routine now. Even though you try to get that going before the first game, it's not quite the same. We get done with the film on Sunday and then have our practice, and then we put that to bed. No matter what happens in the game, we got to move on. We got to make our adjustments. Then it's on to the next game, and then Monday is a big day for us because that's the day where the guys get caught up with their academics. They got to do some work on their own and prepare. Big game plan day for the coaches. Tuesday we're working on base downs. Wednesday situational, and then Thursday today, we start to put everything together, clean some things up. Fridays are our best Fridays in football, which is walkthroughs and a lot of meetings, and then game day. So, these games start to, come fast, and so we got to get our rhythm down.
For the players, it's good to get that evaluation against somebody else because you see it, all throughout camp going against the same type of guys. Your offensive line going against your defensive line, receivers are going against your DBs. But now you get to see, against somebody else when you evaluate yourself on film. And that kind of helps you take, personally, I remember it's a big jump because you're like, okay, I really got to work on this, or, I'm doing this okay. It's kind of reinforces some things and makes you want to work on other things.
Yeah, I think the thing that I said this before that, was encouraging was that what we saw in practice is sort of what we saw in the game. And that's a good sign for a young team. And I think that means that we were practicing the right amount. The intensity was right during preseason camp, which, that thing was ramped up, right from the beginning. We tackled a bunch during preseason to make sure that we were, ready to go tackling-wise in a game like that. It was a physical game. But you're right. I mean, now you get to really evaluate kind of where guys are. We're going to really work to get, our depth now addressed. But when you play a game like that, I think it builds confidence knowing that you went toe to toe with the best, one of the better teams in the entire country, personnel-wise and schematically. So there's a lot to grow on, a lot to build on, but we've got a lot of work to do.
Is when you drill red zone things, especially red zone defense, does that kind of follow up what you were talking about, being able to show how well you could execute defensively in the red zone as much as you'd practiced it?
Big part of our plan to win and winning situations is the red zone. And when you find those third down and fourth down situations, those are 4-point plays. When it's a fourth down play, it's a 7-point play. But we talk a lot about that. But even like that last play on the 1 yard line, that's very, very hard to simulate. Just that sneak and just all the bodies being in there. So for the guys to be able to in the first game in that moment step up and get a stop there on the 1 yard line was a big play for our team. And it's important for us to, draw a line in the sand and make sure we can dig in those goal line situations.
One thing you prepare for is, field position, right? And that was something that, obviously came up in that game. The second quarter, I think your average field position was like the 3 yard line, which is kind of rare, that you're starting to have backed up. For the game, you had 11 drives, and the 19 yard line was your average starting. For Texas, it was a 32. It's a first down, 12, 13 yards. They're a little bit different, but you prepare for a lot of things, but it's hard to prepare, like, where am I going to start this drive? And those things kind of came in that big game.
Well, I look at the first, I feel like, on offense, we our second drive was backed up, but that's because we didn't convert on we get the ball in midfield to start the game, and we don't convert on 3rd and 1, and we don't convert on 4th and 1. So, and then, defense does a great job, but, then we get pinned. And we've got to do as much work as we can, and we've worked on this and talked about this to try to figure out ways not to get pinned inside our 10-yard line. Because once you start a drive inside your 10-yard line, in that game, especially with a young quarterback, it's a whole different deal. And so we've got to figure out ways to not only get the ball out of there, but not end up there to start a drive. And a big part of that is just the battle of field position. So, if we're starting off a drive and we get the thing to midfield, we got to pin them inside the 10-yard line. get a stop and get that thing towards midfield. Or if we are at midfield, now have the ball, we got to get this thing down and score touchdowns. So, but then also just the execution of some things in the special teams we can do a better job of.
Was the level of physicality one of the many good things that came out of this game?
Yeah, guy, there's paint chips flying all over the place. I mean, guys were getting after it. You can see it on the film. You just watch it, and that's what we wanted to make sure that we were establishing in this game was guys who are rocking off the ball with an edge, finishing downfield, and playing really hard.
Coach, do you give your returners independence on what they're going to do, or do you say, hey, we're going to fair catch this one, or do you have kind of a parameter when they're back there?
Based on game plan, you're talking about kickoff return?
Kickoff return, punt return, things like that.
A punt return, for the most part, it depends on what we're doing, if we're returning it or if we're looking to go after it and block it. If we're going to looking to go after it and block it, typically we're in a fair catch situation. Late in the game, we may give them a fair catch situation. If it's in a safe situation, yeah. In a return, they're looking to return it unless they feel like they're getting too much pressure that they can't return it. In the kickoff return, that's based on game plan, based on the other kicker, but a lot of times it's also based on how high the ball is kicked, and how much hang time there is, and then where the ball lands. So all those things are taken into consideration.
We had to do a double take. We saw Jeremiah Smith out there to return a punt, and not giving anything away, but is that just another way to get his hands on the ball?
Yeah, if we had held up just a little bit longer and given him a chance to return that, we were in a pretty good position there. We were trying to keep it sort of quiet that he was getting some of that work back there. He will continue to have an opportunity to be back there because he thinks, we think that he gives us something back there, as you can imagine, when the ball's in his hand. So, we'll figure out game plan wise when he's going to be back there. And we'll keep working on giving him an opportunity and working and grinding to make sure that the guys on the return team, because when you have guys like Brandon Inniss and Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith back there, the entire unit believes that they can return it. They believe that it can turn into points and change of field position. So we're going to keep working like crazy to give these guys a chance.
It's great to have competition at that position, punt returner.
Yep.
And like you said, you mentioned Brandon, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah. Those are, three of the best athletes, returning guys that you have on your team, that if they're going to be involved in special teams, everybody's going to buy into special teams.
That's it. And special teams, we really want to be an advantage for us. I think we have complete buy-in on our team. I think everybody understands, and we say this all the time, the best players who've come through Ohio State football have been really good special teams players. If you're not a good special teams player, you're probably not a very good football player. That's just the way it goes. Is it 100%? Pretty close, and then there's also just, the feeling that everybody's involved with it. Like you said, your best players like Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs and all the guys that we have are involved in it. Arvell Reese is like huge into special teams. And so when everybody believes in that and owns it, that can be an advantage for us. It needs to be an advantage for us, and it should be an advantage for us. I think all the coaches are involved in it. We have multiple coaches coaching different groupings, which is good for our guys. And every time you're in there, you're learning about how to play the game of football, not just how to work kickoff return or how to work punt return. And James Laurinaitis is up there teaching on kickoff, and Nate Ebner is working on kickoff return. I mean, you got some guys who have done it before. Some of the best players that ever play the game and play at Ohio State are up there teaching you some of the details and some of the skills you need to do the job. So guys are bought in, and it's got to be an advantage for us.
If you have a question for Coach Day, you could submit it to our Union Home Mortgage inbox at OhioStateBuckeyes.com and click on Ryan Day Show inbox. Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of the Ohio State Athletic Department. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 2229. Saturday, Ohio State hosts Grambling State. Will be on the air with the AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show beginning at 2 p.m. More of today's show presented by Roosters coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Buckeye fans, choose chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes those moments when you choose to rise above the noise and choose chill even better. Coors Light is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, so crack one open and take a sip. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, beer.
Hey, Ohio State fans, are you looking to score big with your home equity? Union Home Mortgage will help you unlock the value of your home and fund the promises you've made to yourself and your family. If you need to pay off debt, have home improvements, or whatever your family needs are, visit UHM.com and score financial freedom with Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Union Home Mortgage Corp. is an equal housing opportunity lender, NMLS number 2229.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Buckeye fans, this is for you. Level up with the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. You'll receive all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Ohio State sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State Team Shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Your Ohio State flagship station, The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back to our show. Coach Ryan Day as Ohio State prepares to host Grambling State on Saturday afternoon. Time for our 2 Deep Report presented by Elk and Elk Injury Lawyers, dedicated to every client every day. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And certainly what we were able to see Saturday seemed to be, Coach, correct us if we're wrong, the translation of all of the competition to your positions, getting guys out there playing at a high level.
Yeah, I think so. And I think as we move forward, you'll see more and more of that going on. I think one of the things going into that first game is there was a lot of guys who, we lost last year that need to be replaced. And so we sort of, leaned on the side of experience in game one. But now it's time to get some other guys some reps in there and, let them get in there. They've earned the opportunity. A lot of guys have. And so we want to see them get on the field, get those reps. And I think it's healthy for the team, to get some of the feedback like Jim was talking about. Get on the film, take a look at it. How does it look in the field, on the film, and go from there, because we know depth's going to be important as we're about to make a long run here.
Coach, in that game you played 2 running backs. C.J. Donaldson got a majority of the carries. James People, got about 10 carries in that ball game. Again, you got a lot of depth there. You got some young guys. Opportunity for those guys to really get their feet wet and play in games like this and maybe next week.
Yeah. Both running backs, I thought, ran hard, and there's a lot of things that we're going to grow from and look to be more explosive and get them to the second level a little bit more. But then it's going to be exciting to see Bo and Isaiah West, get in the game here over the next couple of weeks and let them get some carries and go from there. But start their careers, and kind of see what that looks like. And when you have running backs, it's not always easy to know what you have till you get them in the game and get them some carries. But, I was looking last year just – Travion Henderson, he only had 2 games where he had over 10 carries, and they were both 11, and so those guys, carried the ball quite a bit on Saturday, and it was good to see them, get their feet wet, because neither of them had played a game here for the Buckeyes as starter before, and so both of them are starter level, and they're going to get a lot of carries here this week.
57 plays in the game, 60% of those plays were running plays. Is that a formula you want, or is that just depending on field position, where you're starting and who you're playing?
Yeah, we had there was a couple different call sheets. The one was sort of the master of everything that we had, where depending on where the game went schematically or situationally, we felt like it could go that way. When we find ourselves backed up, when we felt like our defense was playing well, when we didn't quite convert a couple things, we felt like we had a good control of the game. We had that long drive over 8 minutes. There was a point in the game we wanted to make sure we eat enough clock off, eat up some clock because they were playing some tempo. I felt like, we're getting a little bit tired there. So we erred on the side of eating up clock and running the football. All those things were taken into consideration in this game because the number one goal was just win the game. It was nothing about style points or anything that way. Now moving forward, we got a lot of work to do. We got to be explosive. We got to open this up, and we got to roll from there. But we're always looking for balance, and as you know, we have to be able to run the football. I mean, that's where it all begins and ends, and then we go from there. But the good news is we got really good guys around Julian. We have some explosive players that we can get the ball in space, and when you can do both of those things, then you're really maximizing what you want to get done.
A lot of that tied to the production. How did you feel about the offensive line?
Solid. I thought they competed, for their first start as a group, and for both tackles to go against Simmons and Moore and some of the edge players that they had. I mean, it's got to build confidence for them because they're some of the best players in the country, and that's a very good defense. They're fast. You guys saw them on the hoof on the field. I mean, it's a good-looking defense, and so again, a lot of things that we can grow from. But that's so encouraging to know that there's still a lot of meat on the bone here. We got a lot of work to do, but we did play physical with them, and just seeing them on the fourth down. We hammer that ball in, and just seeing them come out of that, long 8-minute drive and just pumping up the crowd and celebrating with their teammates. I mean, that's what we're looking for a foundation to start the season.
In the start, you went with basically 6 guys. You saw Tegra and Ethan rotate at that right guard spot, but basically everywhere else against Texas, you kept them the same.
Yep. And, looking to see if we can get some different guys in there, different opportunities for some of our offensive linemen to get some snaps under their belt and grade out. And, they deserve it. A lot of these guys have been working hard. You've been to practice a few times and seen some of the guys, some of the depth there. We got some decent depth that we're excited about building on.
And you've talked about it before, but if you would again go over the importance of those guys in that group playing multiple positions.
Yeah, and that's. We've learned that lesson of how important it is and how long the season is going to be able to play a guy like Ethan who can play tackle and guard, a guy like Austin who can play tackle and guard, a guy like Carson who can play guard and center. That's how you build your depth when you're not going to have as many numbers as maybe you'd like to have for a 16-game season, or you can just sign somebody off of waivers. You're not just going to have a backup left tackle or a backup right tackle or a backup center. You need to have some of this flexibility. The good news is I feel like we're decent with our numbers right now and some of the flexibility, but still a lot of work to do.
How's Tyler handle? He's got 3 offensive line coaches: Coach Bowen, Coach Dickey, Coach Johnson. Maybe does one coach of centers, another one coach of guards and tackles, or do they go left side, right side? Tyler oversees the whole thing. How does that communication all work there?
I think it's been excellent. I think that in the individual drills, that's exactly how we do it. It isn't just that, the centers hear from Coach Dickey. They mix it up on who's working with who, but they split up the work. And so we're getting a lot done there. It's great because, you have an extra set of eyes. Hey, I'm not going to get into who has what, but, certain coach has goal line, certain coach has 4 minutes, so certain coach has, short yardage. That really helps with game planning to be more efficient. Here's the presentation on what they're doing in this situation. I think it also helps in practice. Just a different voice, a different energy. When you have just one person over time, sometimes it gets, like Charlie Brown's teacher. But when you hear something different, and they're all different personalities too. And so I think that part has allowed us a lot of energy. And just when you have 3 guys in there who are just constantly having conversation, whether it's a young player, an older player. I just think it's a good touch point to be, having constant interaction as long as everybody's aligned. Yeah. That's what, everyone has to be saying the exact same thing. And that's why we spend so much time meeting to make sure that the messaging is clear for the players. The minute, it's not the same or somebody's saying it one way as opposed to another, that's when the confusion can come into play. So it's something when you have, as many people as we have to make sure the communication's clear.
Was composure the biggest thing to take away from Julian Sands' first start?
It was good. I think the fact that he didn't turn the ball over, I thought some of the throws he made were good. I mean, we had some drops early in the game, and when you have a young quarterback like that, we got to help him. And so we did, and that's part of the game. And we said no matter what happens, we're just going to keep swinging. And it wasn't as clean as we would have liked to have been, but that's okay. It's week 1, and we know that that's going to be part of the deal. And so you got to keep swinging. I don't think that rattled him. I think he kept playing. And, he made some good throws. We're going to need that as we move forward. Obviously, the challenges are going to become bigger and bigger in terms of what we're asking him to do. I think he's had a good week of practice. I also think Lincoln's had a good week of practice too. So excited to see, how this game plays out, and looking at, obviously, that position is going to have a lot of growth.
I noticed with your tight ends this year, and you might have done it in years past, but maybe I didn't pick up on it, but they're over there taking one-on-ones, with pass blocking, with the offensive line going against the defensive line, and certainly that paid off. You saw Will Kazmarek, and his technique wasn't perfect, but his effort was there, and that's what you count on. You want to give great effort, but all those guys have participated in that, and they all got to play. I mean, so that room has to be pumped right now. You got 5 guys that can go out there, and they're all going to contribute, and you just don't know what way. It could be pass blocking, it could be catching routes.
Yeah, I say it all the time. As a tight end, and we have a deeper room than we've had before, so that gives us a lot more flexibility, which is exciting in a lot of ways as we build this thing throughout the season. And that's really what we've been focused on. Like, where are we going to look like moving forward? And so that room gives us a lot of options. But as a tight end, you have to run routes like a receiver. So we do now send guys over to run one-on-one routes. Sometimes we'll send them over with the receivers to learn just about releases and top of the routes. You have to block like an offensive lineman. So they're in the meeting sometimes with the offensive lineman down there working their combination drills and things like that. And then, like you said, you got to protect like a running back. And so, you have to understand protections. You have to understand, how you're working your footwork. And in that play in particular, Simmons is one of the best edge guys in the country. And so, we actually thought in that situation in particular, he was going to be into the boundary. He wasn't. He lined up to the field. And so now, all right, Will, you got to do everything you can to hang in there on this guy. And he did, man. I mean, talk about the fight in somebody, and I thought he played really hard in this game. Will did, and that was a big part of that play. And obviously, the throw and the catch was excellent. But as you said, the number one thing in the passing game is protection. And if you don't have protection, you got no passing game. And that's the type of stuff Will's willing to do. He's doing a lot of the dirty work that doesn't always show up on the stats.
Be sure to check out the Buckeye Game Day Concert Series presented by the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer before every home game this season outside of St. John Arena at Buckeye Fan Fest. Each week features a different artist on stage 2 hours before kickoff. Get on board and book your cruise today. Visit BuckeyeCruise.com. Go Bucks and beat cancer. More of our show presented by Roosters when we continue on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at Safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
The Donato's Pep Duo Pizza is back, and it brought a pal. The Donato's Pep Duo, loaded with crispy pepperoni and 3 kinds of cheese. Now get a large Pep Duo pizza for just $14.99. Also back, Donato's deliciously dippable pepperoni cheese bread. Now on the $5 Pizza Pals menu for a limited time. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's, gotta love more.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. every client, every day means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the Shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeye fans, power up and carbon down with AEP Energy and Eco Advantage. Their 100% renewable energy plan for your home or business. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. The Buckeyes at home with Grambling State on Saturday. That'll be a 3:30 kickoff at Ohio Stadium. Time for our Inside Access with Kroger. Kroger Pickup is the easy way to get what you want right when you need it. Try Kroger Pickup today in the Kroger app or at Kroger.com. And the Inside Access might start involve the first of our Union Home Mortgage Inbox list of questions. With so many recruits that were in for a game like this past weekend, how do you divide the time that you're able to spend with them with all of the other stuff that you have to do at the end of it?
That's a lot of work, but it's great to have some of the recruits here for a game like that. And it's Mark Pantoni and his staff and everything they do to get everything organized. And we have a lot of folks that help. We have some of our ambassadors that help with this, and it's important. But it's really important for our recruits to be able to see that environment. And I think when you see, the way our guys played in that environment, a part of it is the fact that they've come to games, they've seen what it's like. When you come to Ohio State, you're expected to win those games in that environment. That's as big as opening game as there's been maybe in the history of college football. We're expected to win. And so when you come here, that's the deal. You're not just here to wear the block O. You're here to perform on the field. That's our job. And so it's great for recruits to see that, because it's not for everybody. When the bright lights are on, we got to perform. We got a job to do. But then it was also great for them just to see the environment, see the crowd. How great was the crowd? How about the atmosphere? Just everybody in their seats at 11:30, and it was rocking. It was loud. And so, if you don't want to come to Ohio State after watching that game, I don't know if you like football.
Yeah, thanks to Justin Dayton for that question.
Coach, you had Larry Johnson talk to the team this week, about Grambling State and about Coach Eddie Robinson. I played with a few Grambling guys, Doug Williams with Washington Redskins, Commanders now, and Charlie Joyner with the Chargers, and they had so much respect for Coach Robinson. And some of these new generation might not know that he had 408 wins and his success that he had there at Grambling State. But Larry Johnson does know that story, and it was good that you had him talk to that team.
Yeah, we talk a lot about tradition here in the recruiting process, and then once they're here, because I just think it's so important for our players to understand the tradition of Ohio State, the tradition of college football, because it hasn't always been like this. And so the reason that we're able to play on stages like we did on Saturday was because of those who have come before. And as you get older, you just want to make sure that these young folks understand that. Even for some of our young coaches, I thought it was great because Larry actually heard Eddie Robinson speak, and that's what made him want to become a coach. And so the history of Ohio State football goes a long time, but Grambling has a great history of football. And so I thought it was great to kind of hear that story, and it's the impact that Eddie Robinson has made on the game of football. And so we're playing a team with a great tradition.
Yeah, he's still third all-time winningest coach. Coach Robinson is. Jim in Strongsville with our next Union Home Mortgage Inbox question. Did any specific player or unit surprise or exceed your expectations last week? I know that's tough.
No, I think I think I said this the other day, that there was just about 700 total starts on our team of the starting 22 that were going to that national championship game, maybe just under that. And then this group had 190. That's a lot of experience that went out the door. So you just don't know what you have until you go play, and that's when when you have guys that are inexperienced that I think could go a bunch of different ways. And also Texas had some guys too, so you don't exactly know how this is all going to shake, especially in week one. So because of all of that, you're not sure. So I wouldn't say that there was one person that was super disappointing. I think everyone competed their tail off and played well. We had a lot of guys grade out a champion. Not everybody graded out a champion, but for the most part, we played strong in that game. It was not perfect. We got a lot of work to do. But I think that the thing that hits me is not a specific player or a specific unit, was that how we practiced, how our scrimmages looked, is pretty much what it looked like in the game. So we know where our strengths are. We know where the things we need to work on are. So we'll go from there.
You had to be impressed with the big guys at the line of scrimmage. I mean, the offensive line, no sacks, and Julian plays in that with, his ability to move around the pocket. I think he had 1 TFL for -1 yard. And then your defense went out there and created pressure. You had 4 new guys replaced on that defensive line, and I thought they all stepped up. Caden McDonald ended up with 8 tackles at nose guard. I mean, that didn't happen very often to see a guy like that busy in the backfield making plays. But to see your big guys perform, that allows everybody else to go out there and do their jobs.
Well, that's what the game's won. And a great offense is built from the inside out. You got to run the football, establish the run, and the same thing on defense. You got to stop the dang run. So I thought that was well done. And you're right. We're looking for positive runs and completions. And when that's happening on 1st and 2nd down, you're going to move the ball down the field with efficiency. Areas we got to improve on for sure. When you drop a ball, or you're not getting positive runs. We want 4 yards of carry, and I get it against a good defense. It's not always going to be that way, and we weren't as spread out as maybe we will be moving forward. We wanted to play it a little bit closer to the vest in this game and get Julian, his first game under his belt. But we were clean, like you said, no sacks, no turnovers. Very few penalties. So when that happens, in a first game, we wanted to play clean. We checked that box. And then the same thing on defense. We were very good penalty-wise. We did have a breakdown, but for the most part, with some new scheme mixed in there, we were able to handle it well and communicate it well. But there's areas we got to improve on for sure.
You mentioned Arvell Reese earlier. Speaking of defense, what we saw from him Saturday, has that been the continuation of what he's shown in some of the small sample sizes in the years leading up to this?
Yeah, I don't think anybody was surprised in how Arvell played in this game. If you came to practice and you get a chance to see what he's done and how he's grown and how he's built, in that room, and James has done a great job with him. I think Matt's done a good job, and Tim, in terms of putting him in situations to be successful and to create pressure on the quarterback. As you guys saw, he can cover, he can play the run game. So he's a weapon for us. And I think playing last year and seeing Cody play with Sonny, and now he's really stepping into that role. I thought Peyton Pierce did a good job too when he was in there. You're going to start to see him more and more. So. The linebacker position, is building some depth and looking to hopefully get some other guys in there as well.
Yeah, you got to consider Peyton our starter type, the way he plays. Yeah. Arvell lined up all over, though. I mean, that's the thing, too. It's not just, I'm going to line up wherever the tight end, there's or opposite of the tight end. So some people, he was all over.
Yeah. And when you can get him matched up on a guard, or you can get him matched up on a tackle, or you can blitz him in a certain gap, get him matched up on a running back. I mean, those are all the things that, it's exciting when you have somebody with that kind of versatility. The coaches are in there kind of coming up with all types of stuff to get them to the quarterback.
Buckeye fans, this season Roosters is giving away 12 Ultimate Buckeye experiences, including tickets, sideline passes, and trips to a postseason game. 3 drawings, 12 prizes. Register today and every day at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, as well as a sponsor of our weekly show. We'll continue with more of it in a moment on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
If you are a fighter, Modelo is your reward. So listen close. You put up with a lot, but you always hold it down for your people. You are strong. You are fearless. You are the baddest on the block. You are an elbow grease factory, a force of nature. You are not to be reckoned with. You are a ride or die, a powerhouse of productivity. You are a fighter, and Modelo is your reward. You've earned every last drop of this rich golden lager, so raise it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
From the first one born in the USA to the tens of millions that followed, from the American highways to the NASCAR race days, more people have counted on their Camrys than any other car for over 23 years. And now, Camry is even better. It's all hybrid all the time to be more efficient yet powerful, with available all-wheel drive for the capability to go wherever you want to go in style and comfort. For the latest offers, go to Toyota.com and make your own history. Toyota, let's go places.
James Peoples here, running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes. You have to check out the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Buckeyes sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State Team Shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
Buckeye football lives here. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Union Home Mortgage is the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com, at Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 2229. And welcome back to this week's show as Ohio State gets ready to host Grambling State. Certainly, Coach, when we saw Carnell Tate in the end zone with that touchdown catch that he had in last Saturday's game, but you've talked a few times about the play before, how he showed his development as a more complete player.
Yeah, and that's, playing without the ball. And, I think it's important for, everybody on the team, coaches, players, to understand that, when you want to go chase a championship, it's going to be the best team that wins in the end. And in order to be part of a team, you have to sacrifice. When you're part of a team, you have an identity. You get to share in wins together. You have a support system. You work together as a team. It's not an individual sport. And if you're worried about yourself, or you're worried about your statistics, or you're worried about all these different things, touches, how many sacks I get, or all these different things, well then, now you're not really thinking about the team first. And that's not always easy to do. But that's what we need. We need guys who are willing to sacrifice and who want to do that. Carnell Tate is somebody who, played an unbelievable game without the ball in his hands. When you watch some of the blocking that he had, and, the play before for him to block, he ended up finding himself blocking the defensive end. And then it was 1st and 15. We made 8 yards, which put us into a situation where now we could take the shot that we wanted to on 2nd and 7, which may have not have been the same situation on 2nd and 10. We caught man coverage because it was 2nd and 7, I believe, which allowed him a one-on-one situation, and then we scored a touchdown. And that's just a great message for our young players to realize, everything matters that we do. It isn't just catching the touchdown pass. It's all the other things that add up to that moment. And when you're a young player, it's easy just to think about, your touches or, all these different things, but that's not it. And, understanding your role is important on a team. And, whether you're a scout team player or you're a backup or you're a starter, you have to embrace that. And the best team ultimately will win. And Carnell was a great example of that, like I just said.
Coach, you mentioned crowd noise. They're starting handing out Buckeye Leafs. I don't know if you saw it on the scoreboard where they would give a Buckeye Leaf. They had a couple false starts. I think we ought to add, if you get 5 Buckeye Leafs, maybe you get a free hot dog or something like that. Or, you get 7 of those, maybe a free beverage or, something. We got to keep adding on. We'll have to get our people here at Learfield to start working on that. But you just don't want 2 or 3 Buckeye Leafs a game. You want to see 5 or 6 of those because we saw it pay off in that game.
Oh, yeah. Those are big plays. Yeah, when no matter what the down and distance, a 5-yard penalty can go a long way getting somebody off schedule. And 3rd and 3 as opposed to 3rd and 8 is like a whole different ball game. So it was big. And also just the communication. And I think, when you see guys not on the same page, when you see the offensive line coming off in segments, that's an advantage for the rush. That's an advantage for our defense. And there's no question it was loud, and then the fans were excellent, and it gave us an advantage. And, yeah, I'm with you. whatever we can give the crowd to get louder, I'm all in on that.
As long as you don't have to be the one to administer that. Mark in Canton from our Union Home Mortgage inbox questions. Curious about the brief interaction, what it's like with the opposing coach after a game, especially with the mutual respect that you and Coach Sarkisian seem to have.
Yeah, we usually, it's customary to just, talk a little bit before the game and just, you're two competitors. But, when you have respect for somebody, you kind of share in some of the same things that, just about, the world that we live in and what we experience. And so not too many people share the same things that, a head coach does, a place like Texas and a place like Ohio State. So how classy Sark is and how he does his business and how good he is. It's good to just have somebody who's a colleague who's like that way. And then after the game, there's not much to say. You just sort of shake each other's hand and wish them the best of luck because we know it's going to be a long season for both teams. So, ultimately it's going to come down to which team can get better faster and how they grow.
Grambling's head coach Mickey Joseph coached at Nebraska, coached at LSU. He's been around a lot of different places. Actually played quarterback, I think, in Nebraska back in the day. Do you know of him? Have you seen him or talked to him before?
Not a lot of interaction with him, but certainly have watched him. And he when he took over at Nebraska, I got a chance to watch that and those teams, and I had some guys that I had worked with that were on the staff with him, when we played them, and they had a lot of respect for him and type of how he kind of handled that situation. And it's not easy, I kind of know that when you kind of get put in those situations, it's hard because it's like a no-win situation. Sometimes you get the guys in a room with things that should be them, and get the players kind of look at you like you're a substitute teacher, and you got to kind of handle that a certain way. And from everything I heard, is he's a stand-up guy and a great coach. So got a lot of respect for him as well.
Not only was this the first game for players in this situation, but in the coaching staff, the way it's aligned. Just some thoughts, if you would, about how that whole operation went with your coaches that are in new and different roles.
Yeah, I thought the communication was good. There's some things we got to get better at. But, in terms of the first time for both coordinators calling plays and going through that, we spent a lot of time on that for that reason, because we knew we had to be on point in week one. So, a lot of conversation, a lot of preparation. I think, I kind of drove everybody nuts a little bit the week before in the mock game, going through everything, halftime to the fight song, to Carmen, Ohio, to everything, because we just wanted to make sure that we were ready to roll. I felt like we were. Some notes coming out that we got to get better at, but it was a start.
Coach Brian Hartline up in the box, Coach Matt Patricia down in the field. How did those work out for both of them? It seemed like, as you mentioned, Brian was going to give it to Billy. Billy was going to give it to the quarterback, and, you're monitoring all those conversations. But it seems like that operation went smooth.
Yeah, we all have access to the quarterback, but we just feel like the best thing to do was to have Billy talk to the quarterback, because there's certain things that go on in a meeting. In the quarterback meeting room, there's just certain tips that sometimes, with now the coach-player communication, not only saying the play, but you're saying, hey, man, look out for this, or, keep an eye on this, or, hey, let's run the thing all the way down to 1 second so that we can eat up all the clock on this drive, those types of things. And so Brian sometimes will communicate with the quarterback, but it's good to kind of have that flow of communication. I thought that was fine, how we did it. We'll work on that this week and see where it goes. I thought it was, Matt did a good job of getting the calls in early. I think he did like having the iPad on the sideline and being able to actually watch the whole play. In the NFL, they just have the pictures. Hey, during the games, this is unbelievable. I'm getting to watch the game and actually what happened on each play. I don't even need anybody in the box. I can just do this on my own on the sideline. So I'm going to have to set up a little, area over there where you can just kind of go through and watch all the plays in between. But that was new for him. But overall, it was everybody. I think guys were on it. The information was correct. It was clean and clear, and so that's important.
From our Union Home Mortgage inbox questions, James in Toledo, and I think we know what the answer to this will be. Do you enjoy seeing the number one next to your team in the rankings, or does it even matter?
At the end of the season, yeah, it's great. Right now, it's just a giant bullseye, but that's just the way it always is going to be. It doesn't matter. What matters at the end of the season. So, we know we got to bring it every week, and it's going to be that way no matter where we go. And we're going to get everybody's best shot. So, welcome to Ohio State.
Coach, NFL starts tonight. You got 55 guys, I think, from Ohio State in the NFL, according to your game notes. And, of course, 14 guys drafted off of last year's team, some free agents. Is that exciting for you, obviously, to see that? And do you sit around and watch Monday or Thursday night football?
We'll try to watch a little bit, yeah, tonight. It'd be good to watch a little bit. But, yeah, and just to see all the former players to come back and be with us on the sideline and at the game and everything like that, that was great. Just a really cool feeling on that sideline on Saturday to see, so many former players come back. But really proud of the development here and how well they do to go on, and just got so much great feedback from NFL personnel about not only the players that these guys are going into the NFL like, but the impact they're making on locker rooms. And when you come to Ohio State, you come to get developed, and those who continue to develop as they get on with their careers, but then also stay for their fourth year, stay for their fifth year. You can see it's paying off in their development once they get to the NFL, because it's not easy to get to the NFL, but it's a lot easier to get to the NFL than it is to stay in the NFL, as you know. And you got to be ready once you're there, and that's our job to make sure we develop them. So proud to see so many guys playing here this weekend.
Coach, thanks as always. All the best come Saturday afternoon.
All right, guys, thanks.
That's Ohio State head coach Ryan Day and Joint Coach Day and experts from across Buckeye Nation to preview every matchup and break down each week's game. Game Time with Ryan Day, presented by Huntington Bank, airs Saturday mornings at 9 on 10 TV in Columbus and statewide on OhioStateBuckeyes.com. Coming up next, we'll talk with offensive lineman Luke Montgomery when we continue with our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners, with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
The Fan. Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeye fans are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Joint partners American Electric Power, Donato's, Kroger, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS TV in Columbus in supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Buckeyes Care. And welcome back to our show this week as Ohio State gets ready to host Grambling State. Luke Montgomery, offensive lineman representing Findlay, Ohio, spending a few minutes with us. Luke, thanks for coming out to talk with us. You went up against Texas last year. You faced them this past weekend. You probably had a pretty good idea what kind of physicality you were going to go up against.
Yeah, no doubt. It was definitely a fun game. It's obviously a lot of fun to start out with that. It was an amazing atmosphere, and obviously, like when you're playing a top team like that, like there's obviously a lot more that comes with that, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
You must have enjoyed watching films. You had a pretty good game. You had some great double teams, whether you're working with Carson or working with Austin, your left tackle and your center there. That's something you got to enjoy, right? Whether you're posting a guy up or whether you're going to be the driver to get to the second level.
100%. I always kind of like make this analogy of like it's kind of like scoring a touchdown for an offensive lineman. When you have great double team blocks like that, and you get to see like guys like CJ or James or Julian or Lincoln, guys that like can run the ball and they pass you, and it makes you feel good because you did your job well. So,
Luke, what's that continuity like, having so many of those guys you've been out there next to through so many times?
Yeah, I think obviously last year, just starting out from the past year, we had to build depth in the offensive line unit, and obviously this year we're kind of a veteran group up front, and just playing with guys and just playing different spots on the line that helped out a lot, just from spring ball to obviously coming down to fall camp, and then obviously coming into the games.
What's your favorite, run blocking or pass blocking?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I would say run blocking, I think. Pass pro is a lot of fun. You've got to be violent with your hands, obviously, but like run blocking is awesome. When you get those pancakes and stuff like that, it's a lot of fun.
What's it like going up against the defensive line you have to go up against every day?
Yeah, I mean, they help us out a lot. I mean, Coach Patricia, he's throwing stuff at us like left and right, stuff that we haven't really seen just in the past and stuff, and it's been really cool. Obviously, it helps you out, just whether the fronts they bring and stuff like that or just the schemes they run on defense. And obviously when they have guys like Caden, KJ, Bo, Edric, like Will Smith, guys like that, and then obviously like you have Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles up there, like they're freak athletes, and it's hard to go against, but it helps you out every day because that's the best defense we're going to go against every day. And when that transitions into a game, you should have no fear going out there, and that's helped us out a lot.
And you're a football family. Your dad Mike played at Miami,
yes, sir.
And then you're here at Ohio State. Ryan's a quarterback at Georgia, freshman, and
house divided.
You got a younger brother at Nash who's still in high school there, and a younger sister after that. That's going to be great. But how do your parents split up those duties? I know Ryan's still young.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Ryan's done a great job. He's coming off an ACL injury. He got cleared right before fall camp and won a couple spots and is kind of in that area between the 3s and the 2s. So. My parents are always on standby now because you never know what's going to happen. It's football. Injuries happen. So as of right now, they're alternating games. But I think as the year goes on, they'll probably come to more of my games because obviously I'm playing more than he is right now. But that could change. You never know. So I always make sure I tell him, you got to be ready to go, man. So he's done a great job. I'm proud of him. Hopefully we'll see him in the playoffs. That's my hope. That'd be a lot of fun for my family. A pretty special moment for us. So.
Luke, you've been through this before, but going into Ohio Stadium with an atmosphere like what last Saturday was and following Saturdays will be, something that you continue to soak up as much as possible?
Oh, no, 100%. I think Ross has done a great job with just the environment and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. So definitely, I think it's the loudest game I've been to besides the 2016 Team Up North game. I was at that one with my parents. When I think it was Curtis Samuel scored that touchdown. That was awesome. Just the environment was wicked. It was really special.
How about some of the young offensive linemen? How are you helping those guys become better?
Yeah, I think first off, it just starts off from the past year. I think Josh Fryer, Seth, Jimmy, and Donovan, they helped me out a lot, and I have to continue that legacy on to help these younger guys out because, as you know, like. We're a big unit in an offensive line room, but like stuff happens. Like I said, people go down, and the next man's got to be ready. So whatever I can do to help those guys out, to make sure that they're confident and ready to go on Saturdays when their name's called. That's what I'm going to try to do my best at.
Well, last year had to be a great example of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%, no doubt.
Well, thank you, Luke, for coming out. We appreciate it, and all the best come Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
That is Luke Montgomery, Ohio State offensive lineman, to join us Saturday as Ohio State hosts Grambling State. We'll be on the air from Ohio Stadium beginning at 2 p.m. The Ryan Day Show, presented by Roosters, has been brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance, by the American Dairy Association Mideast. For Skip Mossick, Colin Behringer, Cole Bartemus, and for Jim Lachey, Coach Ryan Day, as well as Luke Montgomery, this is Paul Keels. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.